What's going on, everybody? It's your boy KJ5 to the 2. Thank you for tuning in to 5-2 Academy, the laptop edition, if you haven't quite figured that out. Bringing it to you live from the KJ52 studios. And what I'm going to be doing right here from here on out is basically providing an online resource for anybody that's interested in anything music industry business related. So any questions you might have, whether it's from touring to management to songwriting to production, to even just philosophical things that tie into the music business. There's no question too big, too small. There's no such thing as dumb questions whatsoever. I would try to answer those to the very best of my ability or tackle a topic that would relate to something that you might be dealing with. And nothing to it but to do it. And what I'm actually going to start off this one is a question from my man Fidel. You can check him out. I think his website is fidelitymusic.com. You can check him out right there. He emailed me, and the question that he had asked me, he says, KJ, I've been getting very frustrated with the managerial side of music, and I feel I'm getting to a place where I need a manager. Got any advice? Well, this is a question that I get quite often, and it's something that I experienced myself in my own career. And looking back, someone gave me a piece of advice that I've really stuck with to this day, and that advice was, don't get a manager till you need a manager, and you will know when you need a manager. This kind of ties into what he had asked me, but that statement I really didn't quite understand when it was given to me. And the reason being is this. When I first started, I first got signed, I figured, oh man, I'm going to the next level, or I'm trying to go to the next level with my music. I need a booking agent, I need a manager, I need all these different things. And at that point in my career, or anytime when you start off, the money coming in is usually very slow, and you have to understand that a manager will take anywhere between 10 to 20% of anything you make, because that exactly is what a manager is supposed to do. They are supposed to manage every single aspect of your career, from top to bottom, anything related to you, they are supposed to manage it. And because of that, that's why they take 10 to 20% of anything you make. Keep that in mind. When you're starting off, money that's usually coming in is usually pretty slow. It's tough to turn that corner. It's tough to make something financially viable, much less try to be full-time doing your music. So how does this all work with a manager? Well, the reason I'm saying is this is because a lot of times when we start off, we figure we got to have a manager because we don't like doing the business side of things. And to some extent, there's nothing wrong with that. However, when someone gave me that advice, I took it to heart, and I began to understand really what they were trying to tell me was, learn to be your own manager when you start off, because the money coming in is very slow. Unless you can find somebody or someone that's interested in you that is really worth their salt, that they're going to justify the amount of money that they're taking, don't mess with it. And when they said, you'll know when you need a manager, well, we always say when we start off, I need a manager right now. Well, no, you don't. Realistically, anything that a manager can do, you can do when you start off. You can help facilitate booking shows. You can help organize everything from a business aspect to dealing with promoters to getting your merch to all these different things. And really, honestly, that's a skill that you should learn early on. Learning how to be self-motivated is 99% of the battle when it comes to doing this music. So many people want other people to do things for them. They want other people to be motivated enough to take care of that aspect of the business. And realistically, it's just not realistic. When you start off, let me backtrack just a little bit. A lot of times I meet guys in the music industry that the first thing they do is they, and they're just starting off. They're trying to get their, their feet into the business, into the door, and they say, "Well, here's my manager. Talk to my manager." And 99% of the time, the guy that is their manager generally has no idea what they're doing. It's usually their boy, or it's a guy that usually tries to act like he knows what he's doing, and you can sniff that out very, very quickly. So the reason why I'm saying all this is that don't get a manager unless you know that that person is going to take you to the next level. Don't get someone just to say you have someone. Don't get someone because you're too lazy or too irresponsible or too unmotivated yourself to do it yourself. Okay? Now, I'm not saying take on everything and try to be Superman and do everything. I'm not saying do that. But I'm only going to use my example from my own life. When I first got signed, I looked for a manager, realized that the money coming in And if I just worked a little bit harder, I could handle most of the business aspects. So from my first album all the way into the middle of my second album, I had no manager. I self-managed myself. If anything, the only thing you really need in the beginning is a good booking agent, someone to do that. So I had a booking agent. I had some shows coming in. Some shows I had to book myself, etc., etc. The point is that I didn't get somebody because I knew at the very end of the day, I could do it myself. If I just spent a little more time, worked a little bit harder, I could do anything a manager could do myself. I got to the point towards the middle of my second album, there was so much coming in, and I was dealing with promoters and labels and all these different things. I knew that I had reached my end. There was only so much I could do as an artist. And realistically, a lot of times when you do this music thing, you need somebody else in your corner that will fight for you, especially when it comes to Christian hip-hop. This also brings me to another point when it comes to managers, is that it's very hard to find somebody that can manage Christian hip-hop because it's just such a weird little animal that to find somebody that really understands it and will work hard for it and has the know-how on how to operate with it, honestly, I would have to say is very, very rare. How did I find the manager that manages me now? I did what any of you guys should be doing, is I prayed. And I knew I had gotten to the point where I was like, you know what, God, you know my needs, you know what I'm dealing with, you know what I'm facing. You know I need a manager because I reached a point where there's just so much extra work, and financially I could justify having it because there was enough money coming in now that I could afford that extra 10 to 20%. And the point is, I simply prayed. I said, God, provide what I need. And He did just that. Out of nowhere, someone knew somebody who was looking for something. I met with that person, and I said, you know what, God, whoever becomes my manager has to understand me as an artist, has to understand me from a ministry standpoint, and has to understand this Christian hip-hop thing. Not that they have to be an expert in any of those areas, but they have to at least get it. Now, 99% of having a manager is less about how much they know about you or even the business. A lot of times it just comes down to passion. How much passion do they have for what you do? How much passion do they have for who you are? How hard will they work for you? Put it this way, no one should work harder for you than you do for yourself. However, if you can find somebody that can match your hard work and your output and has a passion and an understanding for you, that to me goes a lot farther than even just know-how. So I know, you're like, well, KJ, you were talking about don't get a manager until I really need one, but what if I find somebody that's really passionate about me? Well, here's the deal. Basically, yes, get people on your team that are passionate, that will work about you, that have the know-how. Obviously, that's the total package. But really, when it comes down to it, never get somebody that you can't justify financially. Does that make sense? Point is, God will provide your needs. If you are really honestly looking for what He wants in your life, He will provide that person. He will provide each and every one of those situations. However, don't go out and get a manager just for the sake of having one. Don't go out and get a manager because you don't want to work hard. Don't go out and get a manager because you're being irresponsible. Get somebody, better yet, pray for somebody, and pray that God will provide those people that you need. He will. I guarantee.